across my businesses, it's about 55 million in sales. Now it's more than that.
You've built Upgrade Profits into something like super remarkable, right? You've generated tens of millions helping these clients scale these businesses.
So I went homeless in the hotel and I was like, shit, we have no more money to either stay at a hotel. First he was asking for money, then he got more aggressive. And as he got more aggressive, he pulled out a knife. A lot of the people in the industry, they focus on one thing. I've done that with so many of my businesses, so I already know what pieces need to go for the next place.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, how do you make them understand that doing less is more?
We have every single day and every single step broken down to get them to $90,000 a month. Holy shit, this actually works. We already know all the problems they're already having. And it makes it even easier when we just ask them. We have one of our clients, he did $30,000 in his first 14 days from when he started.
The numbers you guys specifically get are actually wild. What would you kind of like, advise them to do so they can get started and maybe to your level?
I would say you can start anywhere. All of them work. But if I was in their case, I would always either be
Welcome, Jahan. Glad to have you here. So, I'm actually really excited about this just because I wanted to tell you guys how this guy has been scaling his several companies so well. He has crazy secrets and insights that I think a lot of people will benefit from. So, you know what? I just wanted to hand it off to you, Jahan, and then just ask to get a brief introduction of you and how people can get to know you a bit more.
Yeah. So I'm the founder and CEO of Upgrade Profits. This is not my first company. I'd say it's probably my 7th company. I don't know exactly how many, but probably my 7th company, by far my favorite company. So we help coaches and consultants make more money and spend less time on their business way easier, using AI, automation, helping with people, product promotion, and basically the whole back end and front end.
Wow, that's a tall order. I'm curious. You've built Upgrade Profits into something super remarkable, right? You guys reportedly it says you've generated tens of millions helping these clients scale these businesses. So before diving into the nuts and bolts, do you have can you share kind of your origin story, the moment you kind of thought, hey, this might work for this specific niche, and how you kind of got to that level you are at now?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start from my first company. So first I started I guess it was first more computers. So I started just messing around with computers when I was, I think, 12, 13, maybe a little bit younger than that. But I really got into it more when I was around 13, almost 14, somewhere around there. And I liked the internet a lot. I liked messing around with things. I liked destroying things and then trying to fix them. I would take apart computers and everything, and then I would be like, well, shit, what do I do now? And then I'd have to figure it out and put it back together. So I started with that, and then I got my first computer, my first laptop when I think I was 14. I think it was when I was 14. So I got my first laptop, and it was actually a gift. So from there, I started going online a lot more, learning a lot more things. And probably the first 6 months, I was just messing around with stuff, learning how to use the internet, learning how to learn on the internet and how to gain more knowledge. So from there, I went to I went into more forums. I went into a whole bunch of different communities and stuff. At one point, I started seeing, okay, all these people are selling hosting, either web hosting or web design. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Why does no one sell them both together? So what I did, I literally found a person that was decent at web development. And then I also figured out how to host websites. So first I bought them off of other people. So basically reselling the servers. And then I found someone to do it. That person didn't do very good and I didn't want to sell that. So I was just testing a whole bunch of different people. And then I was like, why don't I just mess around with this? And I started with, I forgot which platform it was. I think it was one of the website builders a long time ago, but I started messing around with it and I started getting a little bit better at it. I personally have never been great at design. My wife's actually way better at that, but I was okay then. And I was like, okay, I got an idea of this, started building some stuff out. Then I found someone that was pretty good and I essentially had him help me build some of the sites. And I said, okay, why don't I take websites and servers and just put it together? So I just sold, when someone wanted a website, they would almost always want a server to put it on as well. They wouldn't just want to say, okay, I'm just going to take this website and just hold on to it in my hard drive, right? So what I did, I just put them together, and I was able to sell it for a lot more, because most people don't understand what goes on in actually hosting a website, building it out, and all that kind of stuff. So I put it together, and I made sure it was essentially one of the best designers I could find on there. And also I would mess around with it too myself. And I ended up selling it, probably each website so I'd either sell the website for free or I would sell the hosting for free. And I would charge 10 times as much as the average price for the other one. So let's say if the website was 100 to 500 bucks, and then the server cost me 100 to 500 bucks, I would charge a minimum of $1,000 to $5,000 per website, or $1,000 to $5,000 per year for hosting. And then I just did that over and over again. And eventually, it was through forums at first. Eventually I started building that up, made a decent amount of money for a 14-year-old. I think I was almost 15 at that point.
14, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think I was almost 15, but it was around there, and made a decent amount. And then I was like, well, this is fun, but it's getting kind of boring. And then I started trying to do other things, started learning about a little bit about marketing, advertising, stuff like that. Then I went into other businesses. I started trying a whole bunch of different businesses, figured out what I do and don't like. I really landed on advertising. I'm through my different things I tested out. I'd say some of them were companies, some of them were little projects I wouldn't consider a company, but I took them all combined. I spent a whole bunch of money on ads and lost a lot of money on ads, figuring out what does and doesn't work. And I just kept doing that over and over again until about 10 years ago. I started getting more into crypto and much more into marketing and the coaching consulting space. I'd say the coaching consulting space was by far, I also was in college at the time, and I dropped out because it was a waste of time for me. And I've noticed that consistently with a lot of successful people and a lot of entrepreneurs. So I was like, okay, well, if the system's so bad, why don't I fix it? And that's how Upgrade Profits started. We started scaling up, and my previous company was a marketing agency. Our main problem was we didn't really, we were making people too much money. We couldn't solve any of the other problems. So that's why I started Upgrade Profits, and we focus only on coaches and consultants.
Sorry, how is that a problem? Making people too much money?
You'd be surprised. So what happens is people would hire us. So once they would hire us, they'd be like, oh yeah, I want a bunch of leads. I want a bunch of sales. Because we did e-commerce, we did coaching and consulting, we did pretty much any industry, anyone. We were way too broad realistically. We wouldn't take on anyone. I'd say we take on probably 80% of the people though that were wanting help. And almost every time we got really good results. I'd say like probably 80-90% of the time we got pretty decent results, because marketing is relatively easy for me, because it's just testing and figuring out what's already working, making a tweaked version that's better than anything else out there. And we just do that. I just did that so many times, and every time we had a new client, a lot of people they think like you need to have 1 or 2 ads, right? We would do 10 or 20, and then we'd do 10 or 20 more variations. And by the end, when we start scaling someone up, we've tested anywhere from 100 to 300 variations minimum. So we'd start making them money, and then we'd start making them a lot more money, and then they'd get pissed because they can't do fulfillment. They can't handle all the new customers, and they're like, yeah, my business is breaking because I can't handle all this. And then they would say, yeah, I don't want to continue because I have too many clients now. And we got a lot of people like that, and I was wondering, how do I solve that? And I realized I was too broad. We wouldn't be able to solve one specific market completely solve that problem. So we focused mainly on coaches and consultants.
Interesting. I've never thought about it this way. The problem with too much money. I was doing some research, and I saw you went through some difficulties while you were like kind of building the business. And what I wanted to know was like, what was kind of like the most difficult thing you went through while building the business? And like, what did you kind of learn, and what would you tell your younger self?
I'd say probably one of the biggest things was, don't try to start like 4 or 5 businesses at once. So at one point before I started my agency, I had a whole bunch of stuff I was doing at the same time. I was doing drop shipping, crypto, also the agency, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I had quite a bit of money, especially after we sold the house. I had a fully paid off house and everything like that previously from the money I made, as well as some of the other crypto stuff. Sold that, put it all into businesses. And I was thinking, great, if I can run one business and scale it up very well and make a decent amount of money from there, what about 5? I can make 5 times as much money. That didn't make, I think it was actually 4 businesses, but it was like a few different side projects and everything too. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I didn't think of it as I'll be more distracted. I thought of it as, oh, I'll just make more money because I'll be doing more things. In reality, the opposite happened. So we went into LA. I was trying that in between, probably around the end, right before we moved to LA and right as we moved to LA. I tried running 5 businesses at the same time. I ran out of all of my money, spent everything I had from the house, from all of my savings, investments, all of that. And then I put it all into those businesses and I realized, well, shit, this didn't work and now I have no money. So I decided, well, I need to figure out what part was working, where I fucked up, that I need to prevent and make sure to fix it. So I cut off all the businesses, everything I was doing, all the side projects and everything, and only focused on the agency because I already knew that made money. I already knew how to do it really, really well. And I already knew I could scale that up pretty quickly. At this point, I was already homeless.
Wait. You were homeless?
We didn't have, yeah. So right after we moved to California, I was starting to run out of money right as we got there because so first we were staying in a hotel because we just moved there. We didn't find a place yet. And then in between that, we were looking for a place for about a month. And in that month, I spent all of that money because I was running 5 businesses. I had 5 different teams of staff. And also I was doing a whole bunch of different projects and everything at the same time. So I went homeless in the hotel and I was like, shit, we have no more money to either stay at a hotel or find a house now. We were expecting to get a place in LA and essentially move everything in there, continue the businesses, but obviously 5 businesses at the same time didn't work. Didn't have enough time, didn't have enough focus, so all of them started failing. So what I did was I was like, okay, well, I know the agency is going to work. I already know how to scale that up. I'm really good with ads and I'm really good with marketing. And also the automation kind of back end stuff I was really good at. I already knew how to do all that. And the agency was the one I enjoyed the most. So I figured, okay, I'm just going to focus on this. So we literally lived out of our car for about three or so weeks. Within the first week, I made about 10 grand because I already cut off all the other businesses and I focused just on the agency. Made about 10 grand in the first week. I think we double or tripled that, made like 20 or 30 grand the second week. And then after that, we kept going up. By the 3rd or 4th week, I don't remember exactly, we made somewhere from 120 to 150. And then I was like, okay, cool, we're going to get a house now. In between, there was actually quite a few nights where we're working every day and every night in the car, literally sitting in the car, working. And then we would go in between and get food and stuff like that because we already had some money, but we just didn't have enough to get the rental, pay all the money ahead for the deposits and all that kind of stuff. So one day I was going out, we were literally it was like outside of downtown LA, like right before you get in downtown LA. I don't remember, I think it was in like right past the Glendale area. I don't remember exactly though. But there was a group of homeless people. One of the guys, as I got out, he was getting closer and closer to the car. And I was like, okay, I should probably watch out for this. Got out of the car to make sure he doesn't do anything. And right as I got out, he started saying, give me money or something along those lines. I don't remember. It was a while back. But he first he was asking for money, then he got more aggressive. And as he got more aggressive, he pulled out a knife. And then, it's so funny. Liana, my wife, she's always worried about me getting hurt, but she knows I'm going to protect her and everything. So it's like, she tried to run around to make sure he doesn't do anything. And then I just pushed her back. And I was like, no, get back in the car. She's like, okay, fine. She ran back in the car. And then he ran at me with the knife. And then I pushed him back and so I kicked him back. And then after that, he got up again. I pushed him back again and then just got in the car and drove off. That's the short and condensed version. But essentially, he was trying to kill, like, he's literally said something along the lines of, I'm going to kill you if you don't give me money. And I know you have money because I see your laptop. And at this point, it was I had a decently nice car too, but it wasn't that nice. So he had an idea that I had some kind of money or something along those lines, but it was an interesting scenario because literally the next week we're like, yeah, it's a good time to get a house because we're in LA. There's already a lot of homeless people and it was getting worse and worse at that time too. And then we already had enough at that point. So we got our house, kept building everything up. I focused on the agency and then just kept growing it there until like 3 years later when I started I think it was 3 or 4 years later, I started Upgrade
That's
Profits.
crazy. You went from being
Yeah.
homeless to making $55 million. That's crazy.
$55 million in combined sales. So actually, I went from millionaire to homeless to millionaire again, all within the span of about 6 months.
That's actually such a crazy story.
Yeah, a lot of people say similar things. I have a lot of crazy stories, but I'd say that was one of the most interesting
So,
ones.
but based on that, do you have any like lessons you want to share to someone that's like just getting started, maybe a little better than homeless, hopefully?
Honestly, I would say one of the best things I ever did is risking everything because that's what helped me grow the most. Going homeless is honestly not as like it wasn't. I wouldn't recommend it by any means, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of people think it is, especially when you're going after something that you actually believe in. Because you know you did everything you could, you learned from it, and you know what not to do again. Because that scenario, like being in that scenario in general, gave me a very hard lesson of what not to do, and that's not to be distracted. And the great thing is, ever since then, there's not a single day I've been distracted like that again. And I've never done like 2 or 3 businesses. And like, for example, I want to start I'm working on starting an investment firm, but I'm not distracted with that. I'm actually having a completely separate team that I'm not even touching to focus on that. That way, nothing like that happens again. But I've learned a very hard lesson, I'd say, is just stay very focused no matter what you do. Even if you think that it feels like failure, the only time you fail is when you give up. Otherwise, failure doesn't exist.
Wow, some powerful words. I love it. I was doing more research into kind of your company, Upgrade Profits, and yeah, I guess the coaches and consultants is a really cool niche you've like tapped onto. And the other thing is like how you guys kind of positioned yourself as like a done for you solution, right? So what are you guys even doing end to end? Like to us from the back, it's like, what is happening? Like, how can you make these claims in your website? Like, I forgot what it was, but if you want to share it, go for it.
So we don't actually put this publicly anymore, but we do have on some of our offers a double money back guarantee, and we also we used to show the total revenue, but it's gotten much more than that. We don't directly track it anymore. But in combined sales across our clients and ourselves across my businesses, it's about 55 million in sales. Now it's more than that, but that was the last time I checked. The double money back guarantee, what we do is we put more accountability in place to make sure they get that result. So as long as they follow the program, there's no way they can fail. They just have to do what we tell them. It's like day 1, day 2, day 3, we have everything broken down. And the way we do it is a lot of it is done for you. So we have a combination of done for you, done with you. And we don't, in our main program, so we have 3 main programs. We have the profit launch system, we have the profit driver system, and the profit driver accelerator. So those are our 3 main packages. One of them is fully done with you. The next one is a combination of done with you and done for you. Next one is a combination of done with you, done for you, more done for you than done with you. The middle one is, I'd say, 80% done for you and 20% done with you. The last one is probably 90-10. So 90% done for you, 10% done with you. And for the first one, obviously, we can't have that accountability because we're not doing that stuff for them. So we don't have a guarantee on that one. But in our middle one, which is our most popular one, that's the one most people on our waiting list on our website are on. That one is our profit driver system. Essentially, we cover everything in the business, and therefore we know they can get that result as long as they follow the program. Because we have a lot of data on the back end. We have we have billions of data points on the back end. So we take a lot of data from Facebook, from Google, from a lot of private sources. We combine all that together. We see, okay, what trends are going on in the market? How can we use these? Also, what are people actually looking for in audiences? We do a whole bunch of market research and everything. So we already know what they're buying. Before we even launch the product, we already know what they're buying. We already know how to structure the ads. We have a shitload of ads to test from and to launch from what we already know works. So we take what we already know works, and then we make a variation for that person's brand, because obviously everyone has their own brand. They have their own look. They have their own style of talking and explaining everything to people, right? And their own style of helping people too. So we take that and then we make a modified version of something that we already know works. And then we just continuously improve it. And that's how we know we can make that guarantee, because we hold them, we make sure step by step they know exactly what to do, and we hold them accountable every step of the way. So it's like, hey, if they miss something, we say, hey, we need this information on what you're doing here, so we can actually make you this content. So our main program, the mostly done with you. I'd say the whole front end we build out, the whole back end we build out, the offer we do with them, because obviously we need to know what they actually offer. The onboarding, completely automated. The fulfillment is where we get into our next package, but we do help some with that too. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into it from top to bottom. So a lot of people, I'd say, a lot of the people in the industry, they focus on one thing. And I've done that with so many of my businesses. So I already know what pieces need to go for the next place. So I've just put all that together into one business, into the package, so we can solve all those problems in their business.
That's really cool. So fulfillment, I guess, becomes the bottleneck at that point. But what I'm realizing is that because you're doing it for one specific industry, which is coaches and consultants that you know like inside and out, that's why you can have that all that data to make sure like they're even fulfilling, right?
Exactly. We actually have a whole bunch of data on the back end. We track their fulfillment and help them track it and help them improve it. We track their marketing. We track their automations. We track all the AI we put in place for them. We track all their calls. We track all their sales. We track every contract sent out. We track literally everything in the business. That way we know if something goes wrong, how to fix it immediately before it actually becomes a problem that's visible in the business.
So that's really cool. You mentioned you apply a lot of AI and automations. Can you give us an example of how you're using this to like I guess this really applies to me, but like to improve their businesses?
Yeah, so before I met you, we did have a lot of AI in place, but I would say it was different. So we automate, I'd say about 80% of the work that most people do right off the bat. So doing the email marketing, doing SMS, doing the follow-up, doing the making sure contracts are sent out, making sure people are onboarded properly, making sure they actually pay, make sure the payment goes through, making sure to track the payments, making sure to send the data back to the ads network. There's literally a list of hundreds of different things that we do in there. All of that's automated. All of the stuff that people usually don't realize that they have to do in a business for it to actually grow. And by grow, I don't mean making $10,000, $20,000. I mean like making a couple $100,000 to a couple $100 million in the business, like drastically scaling it very, very quickly. And all these things that go into the back end, it's very, very time consuming. You usually need a team of 10, 20, even 30 people or more to be able to handle all this with a big growing business. But we automate about 80% of that in their business. That was before the AI stuff came in, before OpenAI was launched and all that kind of stuff. Then once AI came in, what we did, we took all of that data and used AI to combine it and actually get better results. So for example, we have a pre-qualification system. So the pre-qualification system before was just this step, then this step, then this step. Are they qualified? Yes or no. Now we have an entire scoring system that's connected with AI. That's just one, the most simple example I can use, but it's like, let's say, for example, someone applying to us, right? It's like, how much are you making? You have to be making at least $5,000 a month in your business to even apply with us to be accepted to get on a call. And even then we deny about 80% of people because we already have a waiting list. We want to make sure they're actually committed to their business and growing it. We want to make sure they're actually willing to do what it takes to grow a business, because growing a business, as everyone probably watching this podcast already knows, it's not easy. And that's why we want to make sure people are actually willing to do what it takes, because we already know what it takes and we can give them the answers and we can help them as much as possible. But it's like what's that saying? You can lead the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink.
Yeah.
Then again, Alex Hormozi uses another what is it? He uses another modification to that analogy. Have you heard that?
I have not. What is it?
He said, well, technically you can lead the horse to water, like you can lead the horse to water. You can't force it to drink like then, but if you gut it and then drain out all its blood, then you can make it drink. He literally talked about that on one of the podcasts. Like, technically you can almost guarantee it's going to drink at that point. And the thing I've realized is a lot of people, they wait until it's too late, until they are at that point in their business where it's almost failing. And then they take that next step. And that's the problem. And I've noticed, and it really sucks, because a lot of time people can get the help sooner and grow quicker. So it never gets to that point in the first place. But I've seen so many people, they just keep pushing the decision back, and they're just scared about every little thing. What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? It's already not working. If it was working, you wouldn't need to solve the problem in the first place. So you need to solve it right now. But that's the thing. I'd say, just implementing those systems, adding AI into the automation process really helped a lot before when we started. And the automation systems we have now, it does scoring for qualification. This is just like one of our smaller systems. So qualification: are they qualified? How much do they make? Are they willing to grow their business? What is their problem? So we actually have a text field saying, hey, what's your problem in your business? If they put one line like leads, they immediately get denied. And the reason they get denied, we don't even look at that. The AI qualifies all of that stuff. So it goes through step by step saying, oh, how qualified is this person? Because we give it 100 examples of what a good answer is and 100 examples of what a bad answer is. So it looks at all those, and it can actually give an accurate score. So we essentially do that in a lot more of our business now. And then when I met you, we also started adding the AI appointment setter stuff in place, and that helped a lot. That's already helping quite a bit from what I've seen, and it's going to drastically, I would say, not only lower the cost of appointment setters, which is great and all, but it's going to make a lot more money because we can actually answer every single call very quickly. Like, one of the main problems I see with appointment setters is they don't call quick enough. No matter how much training you give them, no matter how good they are, they cannot physically call 10 people at the same time. And if someone opts in, if they're asleep, they can't call them. With AI, you can, and as long as it's tweaked the right way and set up the right way, just like what we're building out in ours, and with your guys' help, everything that you guys are building out too, it's very natural sounding. And it's literally, a lot of people, I'd say, the main thing I've been asked from people with AI, I was literally at a group meetup from this friend that she's in, I think she was in Thailand. Yeah, she's in Thailand. So she was visiting Vegas. We're in Vegas. she was visiting Vegas for a weekend or so, I think like a week. And she's like, yeah, so isn't it going to be less personal? It's like, well, we've actually gotten the opposite reaction from a lot of our partners and a lot of people interested, because they're getting more, how do I say, better tonality in the questions because the AI is so consistent. Because once you train it, it never makes a mistake.
Huh, that's really interesting. Yeah, I've been that's kind of funny because like I was hearing another client, they were like, would you rather have someone with a thick accent or talk to an AI if both of them can get the job done? I guess, yeah, that's we're rolling in that direction, but it's really cool to see. So appointment setting is a very big portion, but and that speed to lead is key. But do you think that really makes that big of a difference in applying this technology in most businesses?
100%, no question about it. I would say for anyone that is having a problem with either leads or bookings, that will immediately, at a bare minimum, add 30% in profit or in income to their business. 30% more sales right away, because they're going to get, at least, in worst case scenario, 30% more people booking with them because they're able to answer right away. Realistically, I've seen anywhere from 50 to 80% with a lot of the newer AI stuff we're implementing. And I have a few friends implementing some AI stuff. The funny thing is, in the industry, I've checked a lot of stuff and nothing's as good as everything we're building out, and everything you guys are building out. A lot of the stuff, like, it sounds robotic or fake, or like there's a lot of other key things that it's obvious that it's AI, but a lot of the stuff we've been testing with you guys, it's not obvious. Obviously, we're not going to hide that it's AI. If someone asks, it'll say, yeah, it's AI, but it's just not obvious, so it's just more natural. And I would say, bare minimum, they probably get about 30% more sales because they're getting 30% more bookings. And as long as you know how to close deals already and you're already making sales, you get 30% more bookings, you're going to get 30% more sales. Now, realistically, it's probably going to be 50 to 80%. So they could essentially add a significant amount to their business very, very quickly just by implementing this.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, so this is the funny thing. Like, most businesses, what they will do at the start is they will serve anyone because they have no inflow of cash. So they will try to get a little bit of cash from everyone and spread themselves too thin, right?
Yep.
So
very common.
that's what I'm thinking is like, how do you make them understand that doing less is more? Like especially with the the pre-qualification, having the AI eliminate people, qualify, etc.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what you mean?
So the people that have barely any leads,
Mhm.
let's say they get 1 or 2 leads a month, should they even consider stuff like this, or like how would you recommend them go about it?
So if they're getting 1 or 2 leads per month, they just don't know how to market.
Yeah.
So I would say at that point, they probably need more marketing. But after that, the next thing immediately I would say is the AI appointment setters.
Mhm.
But not any AI appointment setters, because most of them, honestly, on the market, they're shit. They're complete shit. But a really, really good AI appointment setter is exactly what the next thing I put in. And that's why we added it in our program. That's the next thing. So first we do all the initial build out, the offer creation and everything like that. We do the market research, then the offer creation, offer build out, optimization. If they already have an offer, we just optimize it and tweak it to fit better. Then after that would be the marketing aspect. And then after that is easily, I would say, the AI appointment setters. There's a few small things here and there in between, but that would make the biggest difference because they don't have to worry about appointment setting ever again themselves before, like they did before, and immediate results, like overnight. I would say less than overnight, right after they implement it. So within minutes. And if they already have the marketing in place, they're already getting more leads in.
Yeah. So you get, okay, that's so cool. So you've kind of like maybe I'm boiling this down, but like it's pretty much you've built like a business in a box. Like
Yes.
step 1, 2, 3.
Yep, that's exactly what we do actually. So we have every single day and every single step broken down to get them to $90,000 a month. So our guarantee is 90K in 90 days from their final offer launch. So we do testing, optimization, scaling, and then within 90 days, they're going to get a minimum of $90,000 in sales. With that specific package, well, we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to help them every step of the way. And a lot of it's done for them, so they don't really have to do that much. Mm-hmm. And we do have every single step broken down of exactly how they can get there. And realistically, 90,000 is on the low end. Like we have one of our clients. He did $30,000 in his first 14 days from when he started, and he never did a high ticket sale before. He kind of understood marketing, but not to the deeper level that he needed to. And he didn't have any kind of social media or anything like that. We helped him get a lot more sales very quickly. So for his first two high ticket sales back to back closed. They were somewhere around $15,500 each. I don't remember the exact amount, but so he made like 30,000. I think 31,000, somewhere around there. I can pull it up later, but somewhere around there. And he made it within 14 days because he had every step already built out. So when he saw that, he's like, he didn't believe it would happen. He's like, there's no way I can make that much money. And I'm like, you guys are asking me to charge too much. And we're like, just try it for a week. So the first few days was just launching, testing, building everything out. And then after the first 2 weeks, usually the build out process is about 2 weeks. Could take a little bit longer, could take a little bit shorter. It all depends on that specific partner. But for him, it was a few days after that. I think within 3 to 4 days, he got his first actual booking after we did the launch. And then he got his first close on his second call. I think it was his second call. Yeah. Second call, he did 2 back-to-back closes. It was a husband and a wife. And both of them bought his package at $15,000 each. And there was an upsell that he sold them on that same call. And his face, like his reaction was priceless. It's like, holy shit, this actually worked. Like he literally froze and was just sitting there for like 5 minutes on the call. He's like, did that really happen? And then our team was like, yeah, you're going to go you literally told them you're going to go pick the check up from them tomorrow, and that you already got a down payment. You're going to pick the check up. And then next day he picked up the check up, everything. And he got them started on the program.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
He was like a coach, or what was he?
Yeah. He actually did coaching on dementia. So people that were starting to get dementia, not to the point where they already had dementia. I think he helped them too, but mainly people that were starting to get dementia. He helped them revert dementia and Alzheimer's. He helped them reverse and prevent it from furthering, as well as reversing dementia. And I was a little reluctant for supplements too, because for memory stuff, I've tried a lot of supplements, and I actually tried his stuff, and within 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I don't have a bad memory, but this is actually really good. And then and I'm not old. And then also his social media following, he had no following, and then within a few months of starting with us, he had like 2 million followers, maybe a million. I don't remember exactly, but now he has like 2.3 million followers on his TikTok, and then on his Instagram, he has quite a few too. Hold on, I think I have it here. He has 1.4 million now on his Instagram, and then he has 2.3 million followers on his TikTok.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How is the total market that he's addressing and getting the clients that big enough? That's crazy, right?
Yeah. A lot of people underestimate the total market. So I've noticed a lot of people, they say, oh, my market's not big enough. It's like, if you have a market in the first place, if it exists, you can easily make a couple $1,000,000 a year off of it. It's really not, you don't need a big market to make a couple $1,000,000 a year. The market doesn't have to be that big, and there's not going to be much competition in the first place if it's a small market. I would say, like, just using the coaching consulting space as an example, right? We want to take over the entire industry and help as many coaches and consultants as we can. We want to replace the entire industry as much as possible and give the best experience possible. This is already, I think, almost $1 trillion industry, and I want to take over the entire industry. At least, I would say, I want to have at least, I'd say, a fourth or a half of the entire market under our program and in our business. Wow. That's the long-term plan, and eventually to try to take over the entire market. I think it's definitely possible. It's not going to be easy by any means, but if you have the best stuff in the world, everyone's going to want it.
That's crazy. So how would you even find, like, how do these people even find you anyway?
Mostly it's ads. So we started doing organic. So I did some organic in the past, but it wasn't my focus. And I do see value in organic and long term. That's why we're actually starting up our organic channels. Like I have a YouTube. I have I have an Instagram too. We have a Facebook page for Upgrade Profits, the company, and then myself, Jahan Deals, on all of my social media. But mainly it's ads. So we've done a lot of ad spend. We have a very high return on ad spend. So the industry average is about 2 to 3x. Our average is about 6x. On the low end for client side, our internal average is about 10x. On the low end for the client side is about 6x. Our average for the client side is about 8x. Internal average is about 10x. Our minimum I think we've ever gotten internally is about 8x. So either way, on the client side, the average is still about 4 times the industry average. And a lot of times we get people 15, 20, 30x return on ad spend, which is like they put $1 in, they get $30 back.
That's insane. Yeah. Man. Wait, so have you ever done like coaching or consulting? I guess you are kind of doing consulting, but like
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
But yes. Yeah. So I've done it for about 10 years. Off and on, not constantly, but I started about 10 years ago getting into courses and stuff. That's when I realized, wow, courses and coaching is actually a lot better than the educational space. And then I dropped out. And then I started getting more and more into it. As I was doing my other businesses, I wasn't 100% focused on it. Then about 7 years ago, I started getting way more into it. So I think I've had this company, end of this month would be 3 years. And then previous to that, the agency, I think I had for around 4 years, somewhere around there. So yeah, it would be about 7 years ago now. So 7 years ago, when I started the agency, that's when I started doing consulting in the agency as well. So we do the marketing aspect, which we would run their ads, set up their email marketing and stuff. But then I would also have consulting on the side. So people would generally pay me anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 for an hour of my time. And then I would help them with one specific problem in their business for their marketing or anything related to the stuff we do in the agency. Now I charge a lot more than that because obviously we've helped a lot more people. We have a lot more systems and a lot more knowledge and experience in it. But in general, like I would say 7 years ago is when I really got into it and started doing it like full time.
Oh, so okay, so that's really cool. It's like you practice what you preach, right? That's always good in a business. And like with this, you also built out such a cool team.
Thank you.
Right, and that I feel like hiring becomes super tough at one point. Like, do you have any tips on how actually to scale in that way?
Definitely. So I'd say realistically, hiring, you don't need to worry about it that much until after you're past minimum $1 million a year. Because under $1 million, per year. So I'd say about $100,000 a month. You do need some people, but it's not that many people you need, and it's not that difficult to manage. Realistically, you can actually, especially with this new stuff we're building out, 90%, like for example, in our program, 90% of everything an employee would normally do is just going to be done by AI. So that cuts like 9/10 of the people that you would 9 out of 10 people you would normally need, it would be done with AI. But I would say either way, hiring, it gets very complicated. More than anything, I would say is the managing part. So with hiring, I would recommend having some kind of pre-qualification process. So a lot of people, they just stick a post up, or they have like the most common thing I've seen people post on like job boards and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, text this number, or do this, or do that. They have one thing, and then the person gets on a call. What you generally want to do, from what we've done and what we've seen work really well, you do the same process you would for a client for an employee. So you build a lead magnet, you have a whole opt-in process, you have a qualification process, you have the whole process before they even get on a call with you, to make sure they're qualified, to make sure you're not wasting your time as well. To make sure they're serious, they're qualified, and make sure you're not wasting your time and you're getting on calls with people that are right off the bat more likely to succeed in your team and align with your team. And then after that, you want to get really good at interviewing. So you just probably want to do, I'd say, a couple hundred minimum interviews before. I would expect to do at least 100 to 300 interviews before you actually get really good at interviewing. People generally underestimate how much work it takes to get really, really good at something. I would say on the low end, I've seen most people get good around 100 to 300 interviews before finding really, really good people. Sometimes there's exceptions where one good person or a few good people come in sooner, or if they already have an audience, it makes it way easier. For example, like for you, I know you already have an audience and everything, and people would come in from your organic side, because generally those people are more qualified because they're already bought into the vision. They're already interested in what you offer and what you do. So they're like, yeah, I'm interested in this, and I'm actually going to try a lot harder. But without that, just random postings, and if people don't know you, it's a lot harder because you have to qualify through a lot of people. We have an HR team to do that now, and generally for Profit Driver Accelerator system, we actually implement an HR team for that as well as the whole qualification process and everything for all of our partners. But it does take a lot of practice. There's a lot of SOPs in place and everything that it takes to get a good hire.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, building a team is tough. You have an HR team now. That's crazy. So I was like wondering, I was like, if you're trying to use AI to make your team smaller, I guess everybody is. Where do you think is the highest ROI for you to put it in as many places as possible?
Yeah, so that's actually a very, very good question and a very simple answer. I'd just say front to back. So front of your business, so front end, marketing, what do people see about you? Everything from the front, and then just going all the way back. So you want to take the first one, perfect it, make it exactly what you want, give the best possible experience, and then just keep going back. That's exactly what we did, and we're still doing, and we continuously improve it in our systems as well. And all the systems I built in the past, even with just automation before we did AI stuff, all of that stuff, same thing, front to back. So you test it on front because you have a whole bunch of people coming in. So it's already going to take most of your time. So how do you automate and scale that part quicker first to get more inflow? Because it's always better to have too many clients or too many leads than not enough leads. So by doing that, you're going to be able to get much more leverage with your time, and leverage is the biggest thing that's going to be able to scale your business. It's not like a lot of people think, oh, it's just marketing, or it's just ads, or just this. There's a lot of things that go into it, but it's mainly getting the most leverage with your time and being able to get the most output with the minimum input.
Wow, that's actually very well put.
Thank you.
I have so much to think about. Like, whenever I'm thinking about these and I hear about your client results, everyone is like, how? Because the thing is, when you're okay, so I'll put myself in like let's say a random coach or consultant's shoes. They see your ad, they come in, and then you're like, let's say you even give them all these guarantees, but you guys also charge pretty premium packages. So I'm trying to understand, like, how do you do that, and how do you kind of get away with that and also convincing them to stick all the way through?
I would say it really doesn't come down to convincing. It's just showing them the result that they can get as long as they do what what needs to be done. Because either way, they already know stuff needs to be done in the business. And it's obviously not getting done. That's why they're on the call in the first place. They need the help either way. So you already know they want your help. They're already there for a reason. They don't just hop on calls to waste their time just because. So it makes it a lot easier in that case, especially because we already know all the problems they're already having. And it makes it even easier when we just ask them. So we just ask them, hey, what problem are you facing right now? What's the biggest thing? And then we go deeper into the specific problem that they're facing. We actually give them usually some small tweaks that they can do immediately. So they see, oh, this is actually how it would be fixed. That makes sense. So out of our system, our consultants, I don't actually do, I very rarely go on any kind of the consulting calls anymore, the growth sessions. So in our growth sessions, what we do, we actually break down everything in their business. We see where they're stuck and what needs to be done to actually fix that. And we give them actionable steps right there to actually fix that in their business. And therefore, they're like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. And it's like, okay, you're stuck. Let's say you're not getting enough leads. Why you're not getting enough leads? Are you running ads? Do you have any organic? Are you running any cold outbound? Generally, I wouldn't recommend cold outbound unless you already have experience, like you already have the other stuff going. It's a great addition, but it's very slow. Are you doing any cold outbound? Are you doing any other kind of outreach in any way, like in any other way? Generally, it's, no, I'm doing referrals, or I'm doing referrals and I ran a couple $100 in ads. And people underestimate what it actually takes to actually be successful with pretty much everything. So then we show them, it's like, okay, so if you see Apple, Amazon, or literally any other company in the world that's running ads successfully, do you think that they would put $200 in and expect a couple $100,000 back? And they're like, no, that wouldn't make sense. Like, exactly. So does it make sense that you would expect the same result? No. Does it make sense that why it didn't work? Yes. And also, did you know what you were doing? No, I just threw some stuff together and then I put it up. It's like, well, if you didn't know what you were doing and you didn't put enough into it, does it make sense why it didn't work in the first place? And they're like, yeah, that makes more sense. And then same thing goes for pretty much any other channel. If they're not running any kind of outreach or any kind of marketing or anything to get people to know them, no one knows them. And it's like obviously they exist, but to the world, they don't exist. And if no one knows about them, that they exist in the first place, they're obviously not going to get any leads or interest.
Oh, that's crazy. I love how you like frame the questions like that. Is that like kind of your process of like building trust with these people? Or actually, even if before anyone hops on call with you, like how are you building that trust process?
A lot of it comes down, well, now we're making more organic content. We're going to be sending that out in a marketing content, but in general, there's a lot of stuff we give out. For example, we have a lot of, we have our, there's a few new things. So we're launching our school community pretty soon. We're going to have a whole bunch of courses in there. We're going to have a free one, and then we're going to have a paid one. The free one is going to have some stuff. The paid one's going to have way better stuff. But both of them are going to be valuable. We're also launching we took all of our older stuff and we completely rebuilt it. We have our new one, which is the show up profit system. So we're actually giving that away completely for free. We used to charge about, I think, $1,500 or $1,000 for that, somewhere around there. And we used to sell like each of these courses individually. So we just packaged it together and put it in our program and then built systems around it. So now we give these systems away and they see it. They're like, oh, wait, that makes sense. I'm not doing any of this stuff. They start doing it and then they get very quick results and they're like, okay, that makes more sense now. And then they've already built the trust there because they already see our stuff works because they've already tried it. And there's many ways you can do that. Like we send tips in our emails, we send content in our emails, we send trainings in our emails, we send access to new courses in our emails, we send a whole bunch of different content. And we also offer growth sessions. So in the growth sessions, we build out their entire business top to bottom and show them exactly what they're missing. So that obviously is going to build a lot of trust because they see, oh, this is why it doesn't work. We just explain it to them. It's pretty simple and straightforward once you understand. Like a sales process in general is just solving a problem. That's all sales is. So once you show them what they need, once you help them see that, then they understand, okay, this makes sense why I'm not here because I don't have these things in place. Especially with how much data we have and how many people we've worked with, it's very easy to say, here's a problem, here's a solution, and here's what you need to do, here's why it's not working. And then we just show it plain as day right in front of them, and they're like, okay, makes sense. That's one of the reasons our close rate's pretty very high too.
Yeah, and also the fact that you guys give a double money guarantee, that's insane.
Yeah.
Who does that?
That's not offered in all of our packages because it takes us a lot more time to be able to offer that. But our main package, is the most popular one, does have an option that has a double money back guarantee, and that's like guaranteed after their final offer launch. There's different requirements in there, and as long as they follow those requirements, follow the program, then they're easily going to make that much money. So we can easily give that. Like 90K is on the very, very low end. The minimum we've ever made for anyone following the program is around 100K. That's why we put 90K as a guarantee, because we know 100K is the minimum. It was like 101, I think, 102, something around there.
Oh, interesting.
And then generally we try to take them to 100K per month after that.
Wow, you can do it consistently.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because same process, we just scale it up.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, it always baffles me. Like, there's just so many people and nobody knows who you are. So, as marketing,
People that have seen my ads do, because then they get in our content and they see all of that. But because we didn't do organic and we're just starting our organic stuff for this company, I did organic previously in my other company, but because we're just starting our organic now, I think publicly people generally don't know us yet unless they've already seen our ads, which that's the main form where most of our partners came in from in the first place before.
Oh, interesting. So
because that's what we focus on. That has the highest ROI from everything we've ever done.
Yeah, the numbers are like the numbers you guys specifically get are actually wild.
Thank you.
So based on the vantage point that you guys are actually standing on, and you guys like scaled your company to tens of millions of dollars, like where do you kind of see this coaching and consulting industry in the coming years?
Okay, if you see, I would say like 30 to 50 years ago, you know how the educational space was essentially everywhere and everyone needed a college degree, right? I see the coaching and consulting space replacing that entirely, or a large majority, I'd say 80 to 90% of it. And we're already seeing that consistently, because if you see, actually Alex Hormozy was talking about this on one of his podcasts too. If you see all the people that have been in the college space before, they're moving over the coaching consulting space. A lot of the people we work with used to be in college or used to go be either professors, or they used to be doctors or lawyers and stuff like that. Like there's a whole bunch of industries that are moving from the college space to the coaching consulting space, because one, you make more money, you actually help people a lot more, you can get them better results, and you can work closer with them. All of those are benefits, and there's literally no negatives. There's almost no negatives. The negative is you have to have the entire business and you have to manage all that, which is the part that's hard for most people, and that's why we try to make it easier.
Oh. Huh. A lot to think about. So it is growing super fast. If it can take over formal education, that is an incredibly crazy opportunity.
Yep.
I guess that's the reason. Yeah, it's a no-brainer move, because like that's why Alex Hormozy invested in school.
Yeah.
Right.
It's one of the fastest growing industries anywhere right now.
Wow. Actually. So let's say for you, right? Let's say you're someone that's in the early days, and you're talking to like an early stage entrepreneur. What would you kind of like, advise them to do so they can get started and maybe to your level?
I would say get really good at one thing and then sell that, and then you can add more things afterwards. And then the structure of your business, I would focus on promotion first, product second, people third. After you're at about $1 million, then you keep what you're doing up, and then you can focus on product first, people second, promotion third. And the reason for that order, promotion first, you need money to be able to build a business. After that, you build your product up better because you have more money, you're able to test it. There's many ways you can test it. You can also test it for free. If you are able to pay for it in other ways, you can test it for free, give people access to it, and then keep optimizing and then sell it at a higher rate. But after then you can add people in and start learning those skills. But each one of those are different skills. But if you're already making some money, I'd say at least $50,000 to $100,000 a month, then you can focus on product because you already have some data. Then you can add people in and then add more promotion in to just amplify what you're already doing, because you already have some promotion, you just scale it up a lot. That's why our minimum is about $10,000 per month, because we already know we have all the data, so we can take them to that 100,000 very quickly and then just keep scaling it. And people in that gap, that's the hardest part for most people, is like $10,000 to $100,000, because there's a lot of skills they don't have. So we just give them all those skills, and we give them our teams, we give them our systems, and they can access all of that stuff and essentially take care of everything in their business very quickly.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's a total roadmap. But this is the funny part. So let's say they do get good in the skill, right? And then they're selling it. Are they selling it as like a coach, consultant? Like, I'm trying to think of the people that are trying to do, like, SaaS. They're trying to do selling services, and you're trying to do coaches. Like, where would you say people start?
I would say you can start anywhere. All of them work. But if I was in their case, I would always either be focused on coaching or consulting. Consulting generally is more experienced. They've been doing it for a longer period of time. Coaching is generally more hands-on. Consulting is like, hey, here's what you do, here's how you do it. And we have a combination of coaching and consulting in our program, but consulting is more like, here's what you do, here's how you do it. I've already been doing this for this period of time. That's why I know I can show you exactly what to do. Coaching is like holding their hand and walking them through it. I found the best combination of both, but you have to have a really deep, a really experienced team and a whole system already built out to be able to do both. So I would say start with, in my opinion, I would start with coaching, and then I would go into consulting afterwards. But coaching, you can easily make $1 to $10 million per year, or I'd say about 100,000 to $1 million per month if you just break it down monthly in coaching alone. And then consulting is basically charging more and spending less time on it. And rather than guiding people, it's just telling them, hey, here's what you do, here's how you do it.
Interesting. Huh. So I guess this is why so many young entrepreneurs get on school, build an audience, and you're getting rich off that, right?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, school, I'd say more than anything, it's the brand built around school. It's the community built around school. And that's why a lot of entrepreneurs are pretty successful on school when they're starting off, because it's easy. It takes care of all the basics that you need, and you can build a community very quickly and then build your training. And that's really all essentially you need to really start off if you're doing under $5,000 a month. But after that, then you can start going into high ticket programs and everything, because that requires a little bit more skill, but not a huge amount. So if you're already doing at least, I'd say 5,000 as a minimum. If you're doing at least $5,000 a month, you can easily go into a high ticket program and scale very quickly, because you already have these skills. You've already shown you're able to make sales on these products, so you already know there is interest in there. You just need some tweaks to be able to get a much higher ticket product and get people better results way faster, and then connect with the audience better.
Oh, so you recommend high ticket a lot more than low ticket, right?
No question about it. Yeah. So I'd say if you're beginning, I would say low ticket first, just so you learn what to do. But long term, no matter what, if you're doing at least $5,000 or you already know how to do something really well, almost always focus on high ticket, because you can, more than anything, give a better experience, and you can charge more. Because you can charge more, you're able to give that better experience. That's why we don't do, like, yes, we have our school. That is just kind of like a teaser of what our actual program is. So yes, it helps them with a lot of stuff, but it's nothing in comparison to our actual program. It's like just as an example, the school program we're building out right now, it is already, it would probably 10x most people's business just by implementing the systems we have in there. And then when they see that, it's like, oh, okay, I see that this works here, and I already made a lot of sales. I wonder what the bigger program would be. And the main program is a lot more. It's a lot more hands-on. We work with them directly. We're able to hold their hand step by step, build out all their systems, build out all their backend, build out all the follow-up, all the stuff that needs to actually scale. And scaling high ticket is way easier. You need less sales. You do need to give a better experience, but you can charge a lot more for it. And long term, you get much, much better customer results and much better reviews overall. And I mean, on our website, our website's upgradeprofits.com, literally on our results page, we have result after result after result of like hundreds of thousands of dollars, because it's all focused around high ticket.
Oh, so when you go from low ticket to high ticket, I guess you also need other stuff. Like then you start needing like operations, sales, building a team, all that stuff, right?
Exactly. So low ticket, you can easily do it just yourself. But you need a lot of other things like a sales team that most people don't realize. And a lot of coaches and consultants, they think they can do it themselves. Yes, it is possible, but it's not optimal and you're going to be very limited. So it's like you do need the sales team, you do need marketing, you do need operations, you do need backend, you do need fulfillment, you do need the onboarding, you do need payment systems, you do need contracts, you do need all this other stuff too that most people don't even think of. And then what about refunds? How do you take care of refunds? How, if you have a guarantee, how do you handle that? You need a legal team to manage anything else. If someone has any questions, or you need to tweak anything, or you have any other issues, like all this other stuff comes in when you deal with high ticket. It's really, really fun, but there's a lot more stuff, although you make way more money. And overall, you do less work after it's built out. The initial build out takes a little bit longer. But if you have the right systems in place, you're able to scale way faster and do much less work long term.
Man, in that last phrase right there, you broke down the exact complexity of like why someone would need like a program. And so they don't like, I don't know, flounder around for months or years. Yeah. So I guess if someone does want that stuff, I'm assuming you can help. Right.
Yeah,
It's been super insightful. And I just want to know, like, you know, if our listeners do want to learn more about your company and kind of like become like you, like where can they find you, and like how would you help them do all the stuff you just mentioned?
So all of my social medias, just Jahan Deals. And then our company, Upgrade Profits, is upgradeprofits.com. So they can go on our website. We have a whole bunch of stuff there. Or I'll also give you a link that you can put right down below. They can click on that. It'll either be a training, like one of our trainings, one of our programs, or it'll be the, we probably do the Show Up Profits system. That way they get like a full breakdown of how to make sure they get like 50 to 80% show rate, because industry average is 30%. Just by implementing the stuff we have in that training and in those systems that we give out there, it brought our internal show rate up to about 50%. Then a few additional tweaks brought it up to about 80%. And same thing with all of our partners, and qualified too. Every single.
I'm sure if people are going to be scrambling around trying to find this Show Up Profits, where can they find that really quickly?
Yeah, so we're going to have it on our website. There's going to be a section for where they can see the content that we offer. So it's going to be, I'll put it right below. I'll give you the link so we can put it right below as well. But it's also going to be on our website. We have a section where we give out content, and they can get access to the courses and our systems on our website as well.
That's awesome. I can't believe you guys are giving this stuff for free. But, Jahan,
we used to charge a lot more for it, but I know it helps people. So,
well, yeah, it's been great having you. I've learned actually so much, and you know, I'm excited with what we're building.
Yeah, it's really fun actually. I think the partnership we're doing now together, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be very interesting, and it's going to be nice having, first off, a lot more AI stuff. Your team is awesome, by the way. Like, your team is awesome. Everything you guys build is awesome. I like how you've also built your company, especially it's very quick for what I've seen. Most SaaS companies aren't doing nearly as well when they're starting off as you have. Like, I've seen a lot of SaaS companies within their first few months, they fail. But you've been able to make everything very sustainable and scalable and like consistent from what I've seen. And your product is really fucking good.
Thank you. That's why I do it. It's fun. But yeah, I hope you guys learned a lot. This has been really good. 100%. I'll put everything down in the links below. Check it out. You're 100% gonna benefit. And yeah, thanks.
Talk to you guys later. Success or excuses? It's your choice. That's the phrase I have in all my videos.